talking. Can we start? Okay. Greetings to all, including those of you that are joining us online today. My name is Justine Sass. I am the chief of the section of Education for Inclusion and Gender Equality at UNESCO, and I'm thrilled to be opening this head talk here at the World Conference on Higher Education. I will be joined, and you will hear from Ms. Heekyung Min, who is the executive vice president and the global head of corporate social responsibility of Cheiljedang, often known as CJ, which is a business conglomerate based in South Korea. Ms. Min had began her decade-long career in finance in New York, Tokyo, and London. She then went on to be Director General of the investment promotion at the Incheon Free Economic Zone in Korea. And her recent work has really been focusing on sustainable business, and with UNESCO, also a huge push for girls and women's education. She's a wonderful person, a wonderful partner, and has a lot of wonderful things to present to you today. So over to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Justine. Thank you. My name is Heekyung Min, as Justine introduced. I'm the social responsibility person, corporate social responsibility person for CJ. And CJ, as you may or you may not know, is a company. We call it a lifestyle company from Korea. We are in food, restaurants, also entertainment and media, some cosmetics. So you probably heard of the movie Heekyung, Parasite, which won the Academy, and that's also ours. We make numerous cosmetics, mask packs and stuff like that. So you probably know about what we make or what we do, but not necessarily our name. Today I'm going to talk about the girls' education project that we've been doing with the UNESCO. So there is some practical experience, and CJ has been a strategic partner for UNESCO since 2014. We use our K-pop platforms to advance the advocacy work for girls' education. So whenever you see like Mama or K-Con, these are the famous K-pop concerts, and then BTS was in many of them. You will actually see like most popular K-pop singer comes out and talk about our efforts with the UNESCO on girls' education. So let's start with the project we did. The project that I'm going to talk about today is the We Are Able project. The project started in 2018, and we just finished a month ago. It was in 3 different locations in Vietnam. There's Ha Giang, Ninh Thuan, Soc Trang. The commonality of those 3 locations are these have the highest ethnic minority groups, and also they are the most economically challenged area. So the 2 projects, the project goal that we identified was to improve access and retention of ethnic children, especially girls in lower secondary schools. And the second one is to improve employment opportunity for these ethnic women and girls. The project activities, there are 3 areas that we were actually targeting specifically. One's for the teachers, and then for the parents and the students. So for the teachers, capacity development, we had in 3 areas. One is psychological counseling, career orientation, and communication. So there are 10 modules in 12 lessons and 3 topics. First, we supported the training program for the teachers and the education administrators, particularly in the areas of gender issues such as school-related gender-based violence and child sexual abuse and early marriages. We almost faced the difficulties or almost halt the program because of the COVID, but luckily, with the help of a local university and the Ministry of Education in Vietnam, we developed an online program. So we were able to continue. Another important program for teachers was to improve career development program in schools. So there, we developed the materials for the teachers who could teach students about the importance of gender diversity, gender education, confidence building for both boys and girls in ethnic secondary schools. So these are some of the achievements. The psychological counseling, over 2,000 teachers and education administrators completed the course. And then 97% informed that the course was useful. The career orientation, 210 key teachers and educational administrators, and then over 99% informed that the course was useful. The communication side, 59 key teachers participated in the training workshop. And again, 99% became more confident in organizing communication activities. Also, what we did was we improved the counseling facilities, meaning the counseling rooms were more accessible for the girls to actually come in and get the counseling. So there's some example of a testimonial from teacher. She said the training was very useful and practical, not only for work, but also for her personal life. Many of them were women teachers, and then they are also mothers. And they found that it helped her socially, especially dealing with the children. But I think more importantly for her job, she said she learned of focusing on listening, encouraging them to express the students' real thoughts, actual feelings, and true reasons, and not instantly providing generic or general advice. So next one was targeting parents. Targeting parents is very important because these are ones who are actually responsible for making them to dropping the schools in very early ages, even in elementary school. So in case of ethnic minority families, parents tend to send the daughters to field to work and then boys to school. So there are much higher dropout rates for the girls. And so targeting parents start with the awareness of raising. We did the workshops to aware the importance of education, importance of a school, and then we actually told them that girls are as valuable as boys in their later lives. So I learned about, and then there's a skills building. So it not only awareness raising, then there's skills building in terms of how to talk with the families and the daughters, and the change actually brought in. And I became awareness of the importance of these parents when I was doing community development, rural community development project in Ninh Thuan in Vietnam. It was actually, we were working with the smallholder farmers raising chilies. But the education was a very important part of that community development project, because that we teach the farmers the rural or the agricultural skills, but without the education, it doesn't stay. So like next time we go, we teach exactly the same thing, but that they forgot to follow the instructions. So I think the education, any level of at least to the middle school level, was very important. And I was talking to their teacher one day that we only had the elementary school in the village. So I asked the teacher that what they want from me, or if there's anything that I could provide them with to help them. And I was expecting something like computer or the video equipment, since I'm from South Korea. But what they really asked was school uniform and shoes. These kids still don't wear, they don't have shoes. So I see them oftentimes that they love soccer. So they're playing soccer with any ball, not necessarily the soccer balls, but then they were all barefoot, and then it was all muddy. And the other thing is that the school uniform, and I came back, and then the CJ employees raised the fund to provide the uniform and shoes. It turned out the uniform did a lot more wonders than we expected, because what uniform did is that the girls actually were expected to go to work at the field, not go to school. But then in the morning, they come out, they wear a uniform, come to the parents, and reminding the parents that they actually were supposed to go to school and not to field to work. So the wonder was that the attendance rate really went up. Actually, there's one more thing that I wanted to mention about, which is not necessarily related to targeting parents, but the retention rates for the girls is the toilet. The most of the schools in Vietnam ethnic minority area did not have a proper toilets for the students. So the schools that I went, there were about over 300 students. There were usually one toilet for a teacher, but nothing for the students. And that actually made it even more girls to drop out of the school when they become a higher grade, when they are more self-conscious. And because there's just a little hole that you are supposed to go, and you don't want to go to toilet in little hole where everyone can see, then you drop out of school. So in a higher grade, there are more boys and girls. So after the parents' project activities, there are many testimonials that we actually witnessed at the closing workshop, but particularly this woman. She's a teacher, so she's highly educated. She went to universities, and her husband is also a teacher. But even with her higher education, she said, my husband and I used to prefer having a son to be proud of. But now, she doesn't have a son. So anyway, but now I'm aware that daughters or sons, girls or boys are all good. They both can become successful. It is important how we treat them and educate them. My daughter is nice and good at her study. I'm proud of her. I met her daughter. She wants to be a singer. She wants to study abroad. So this is I think even at the higher education level, there's still preference for the boys, because they think that the boys will support when they're old, or more proud of when the boys accomplish more professionally or career-wise. So next one was targeting students. There are 576 core students. These are the ones who got in-person counseling, and they had workshops, and they were actually groomed to be the student leaders. And then there are 96 school-wide communication events, and then over 10,000 students participated in 24 schools for the workshops. They received the awareness training for gender equality and were given the opportunity to participate in career development sessions with the companies from the neighborhood. So here's one testimonial. She actually sang beautifully at the closing ceremony, but she wants to be a tour guide. She wants to travel around the world. She said, I'm very happy to be a member of the student core group. So she's one of the core groups who received the personal counseling sessions. After the training, I know more about the gender equality and about our rights to education. So she became more confident to speak in front of other people. She knows what she can expect. And I'm now able and confident to stand in front of my friends, that's what she did, to share my knowledge with my friends. So here's some of the learnings that I wanted to share with you. That the learnings is that systemized or well-planned, but on a personal level, project works better. So, instead of just we do a lot of workshops with hundreds of people, but the counseling sessions in a smaller group or even individually, those are the made real changes. And then the second one is the partnership is very important. We had many partners even in addition to CJ. We had a Norwegian soccer club who provided the soccer balls for the girls. So now the girls have a girls soccer team. And then also, you will see in the video shortly, where they live, there's no electricity. So even though, and then, in the mountain area, the sun sets very early. So they needed a light. And then there is another company which provided a lantern it's like a sort of solar lantern project. So they had something to study. And then, which is like, the SDG 17, it's a partnership. So there are other areas that we got many helps from all over. Pay attention to the hidden causes are important. The solution might be there for something that we didn't expect, such as a toilet or a uniform, which greatly improve the attendance rate. And then finally, supporting other people who are doing the similar work. Like there are many of these, like child sex abuse NGOs and those places that we were actually sharing our information. And then also, we're going to share our learning with them so as our project will be distributed or dispersed to all the areas in Vietnam. So, finally, I really want to thank the hard work and dedication that the UNESCO Hanoi office did. They had a very, Hanoi, we did not have a really good access. The project area was like 9 hours of like car drive like this from Hanoi. And also, some of them did not have a really good road condition, so let alone internet connection. But somehow, the UNESCO Hanoi office solved the problems, and we were able to reach out to all the students that we plan on. So before I close, this is the short video.
Xin chào. Tên em là Giàng Thị Xoa. Năm nay em học lớp 7A. Em rất thích đi học. Môn em thích nhất là tiếng Anh ạ.
Giàng Thị Xoa School is located 1,500 meters above sea level. Many
This
ethnic
road is
minority
like
girls
this
walk
steep.
up
I
to
don't know
2
how she
hours
walks
to
like
reach their
that.
school. CJ and UNESCO join together for girls to discover their full potential through social activities, to dream in an equal world, and to choose and live a better life. CJ and UNESCO support the education and dreams of ethnic minority girls in Vietnam.
So this is all I have to say today. There are a lot more, but if you have any questions or any comments, I'll be more than welcome to. Yes.
Hi, my name is Luz. I'm from IESALC UNESCO, for an institution of international higher education. So I have a question because I am so Peruvian. So in Peruvian, there are also a lot of rural places. And how have you managed that these girls, or if you continue like supporting them to access to higher education and to keep in those institutions? Because in the case of Peru, there were like the public sector gives some scholarship for some girls that came from rural places, but do not support only the access, but no support, like they keep it during all the 5 years that they have to study. And in some cases, some of them like suffer sexual harassment, or they drop out because they didn't stay in their communities. They have to travel outside to go to the university, and it was like shocking, although they have these programs during their high school. So
right.
how have you managed this in Vietnam?
That's probably the same challenge that I would like to ask you. I will show you what we can do, and I think there are a lot of learning from both sides. The project that I did, the rural development project, only had the elementary school. And then, but these ethnic minorities problem, the biggest challenge is the language. They speak their own language, and then they don't speak Vietnamese. So by the time they, the first time they go to elementary school is like that's the first time they learn Vietnamese. But you know, the schools that they have, because there are very scarce, limited amount of school, they have a morning and afternoon. So they only go to school for half day. I'm sure the Spanish or Peru, Spanish is very difficult, but Vietnamese is very difficult. If you just go for a half day for 5 years, you're not proficient enough to go to the middle school. So there's the project that we did, We Are Able, is actually, it's an ethnic minority middle school. So their curriculum is such that you actually study middle school and then high school and the university. So there are two issues. One is that, you know, are there enough schools, like middle school level, for these people to really, you know, like catch up, so that when they go to, because there's no such special universities. So university level, for somehow you compete with someone who's who studied the Vietnamese for all your life. But in a middle school and high school is a real challenges that I actually, and then it's, the CJ also does the scholarship program that we sponsor the scholarships to these ethnic minority students who go to like middle school level, high school level, university. But I think that's the, as you said, the part of the problem. There are many, it's either there are not enough available spots for the ethnic minority middle school. So depending on, like many of the project was a middle school, so they were already lucky enough to go there. And then state, the government supports them, but then from then on, it's up to them to really overcome the language barriers to go to university. And then once they go to university, there are some, I think there are not all, but enough scholarships. So there are both problems, and then you have to tackle both of them. It's either like bring them up to, culturally they are behind, up to the level, and then also give them scholarships. So I think you really have to do both. I mean, we're doing both in a sense that with this We Are Able project, we're helping them because a lot of the, the academic training comes from the government, I mean the school system. But then there are more for them to give them motivation, give them like some like a personal support, so that they can actually are confident enough to really even aim for the the higher education. But then once they go to the higher education, leaving home, I found out that they get the scholarships, but then the family cannot afford to pay for the other things like housing and other problems. So I think they still have all these things that we have a long way to go. I'm sorry I didn't really give you a full answer, but I think, like that's where all the partnerships come. All the village project, the rural development project, I told them that that village, no one ever gone to university yet. I mean, it's like a few thousand people there. So I said, our sponsor, anyone who goes to university yet, and then but not yet. So that's still hard reality. Thank you for the comments. Yes.
I'm going to pass it on, but if I could just add something also, Joe. The CJ is also, in addition to this wonderful project you've just heard about, supporting a project in Guatemala, which is among ethnic minority women. And so it's looking at women who have low levels of literacy, who aren't connected to economic empowerment. It's got a language and a financial training program. It has a health program. We now have a new masculinities program also as part of that. And one of the very interesting things that's happening through that is all of the training is delivered in Quechua, so in local languages. The facilitators are from the local community, and so it's another way, I think, for us to be bringing the communities in, also focusing on ethnic minority populations, and perhaps not getting at higher education, but getting at women who might not have benefited from secondary education or higher education. So that's another wonderful project being supported by CJ.
Right. If I just say one, just add on to one more thing, is that because of that, we are able, I mean, first of all, as Justin said, we've been working with the Malala Fund, which Guatemala, including there are many other countries. But also in this particular project, when we actually said we will do some focused project, it's because the second half of the project is focusing on the employment. So rather than they go into the higher education, they, like with the sort of the middle school level, mid-school level education, they can get the job or, some, like not just working in a farm. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Elena, and I work in the field of menstrual poverty and health in sub-Saharan Africa. So I wanted to know if and how did you tackle menstruation? And I'm saying that because you've talked about hidden solutions to increase school attendance. Uniforms is one of them, bathrooms is one of them, paracetamol is one of them, and menstrual products is another one of them. In countries like Ghana, the statistics point that 2/3 of girls miss school when they are on their period. So that's, 5 maybe days a month, and it's very correlated with school dropouts. So I wanted to know, how if you've taken that into account in your projects.
Yes, we did, because the first project I did, which like from 2013 to 2017 was the rural development project, and as you said, that's the girls' dropout timing is when they start the period. So that really has something to do with it, and we improved the toilet. So when we went to this project, we went to this Hajang and those areas, and not all the schools, but many of the schools, we actually went to visit the facilities, like sanitary facility, whether it's a toilet or, because sometimes it's a semi-boarding, so there is a, like a shower facility. And it was just exposed to too much trouble because there wasn't any. So one of the things that we were working with the Varki Foundation, pardon? The Dubai Cares. Dubai, I found that I actually asked around through UNESCO if there are other foundations which focus on those facilities who would actually, we were more on the program side, and then we needed another partner. So there was a partner who works on those solutions, and I really believe in their working with the partners. Luckily, it turned out that for this ethnic minority, even though not very nice, most of them, by the time we finished the project, had at least a toilet. But I think it's elementary schools that they don't have a toilet. It's a middle school, so at least there is a toilet. But I think elementary school, there's still, most of the schools don't have a toilet, and that's because they think that elementary school students, it's okay to just, go to any bushes. So I think there are a lot to be done. Like before I actually went to these places, I thought that, why don't they do it like sooner, the government, or like where are they spending all the monies? But then, once I started doing this actual project, it's just not enough priorities. Out of those 5 things, which one are you going to spend the money first? So I think these are the challenges that, we have to do it. I rely on the teachers in the field, mostly. We have to. And then also, what I learned is that, it's not what I learned is that, it's one of the things that, I forget exactly the word, but what Mother Teresa said is, you can't solve everything for everyone at once, but you can start with something that is right near you. So that's what we do at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Joe, I wonder if you would like to say anything about the work you're doing with women in ethnic minority communities in Vietnam?
There are, whenever I go to Vietnam, I always ended up picking up more things in addition to the actual project that we are doing. So for example, even though it is an educational project, that I found out that they make a wonderful, the things, the crafts, arts and crafts for, as you see it in the video, beautiful, like whether it's a dress or some of them, it's just not marketed properly. They had the tea, but then the really good tea, they were just selling it really cheap. And then, when I came to Hanoi, I saw that was being packaged really nicely and then sold it really well. So that's something that, not as this part of the project, but like always I pick up something and then, we will do something to improve the economic viability for these women, the ethnic women. And thank you very much for your support always, Justin. It's very encouraging that a lot of people do care about these things.
We care very much about it, and I think what's exceptional is your level of passion and commitment to this work. It's really extraordinary. Perhaps before we go, I was just wondering if you could say also something about how you're leveraging some of the communication platforms that you spoke about in the beginning. So you spoke about KCON and Mama and these other events. I wonder if you could speak about how you're leveraging some of them for girls and women's education.
We do have all these, BTS and K-pop and K-pop concerts. We have the most famous one is Mnet Asia Music Award, Mama, and then there were millions of people actually watch it. And then the KCON, we have a series of that during the year. So I realized that all the K-pop fans are, now they are actually more boys too, but I would still say the majority of them are girls, and the girls and women, but they are in their like 10s and 20s. And the ones, they are relatively fortunate that they don't realize, they don't face the same issues as these girls face. So I thought that that would be a really good platform to really raise awareness of some other, the unfortunate girls and women, and then all about the issue of education. So we do the advocacy work. So during the concert, we work with the most famous group, and then they actually talk about these issues, and then the UNESCO's efforts, and then how we can help, and then just being aware of those issues can help. So that's what we do, and we'll continue to do it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jo. Do you have any closing remarks for us? Any last final words of inspiration?
Yes, the closing remark would be, we hope that this will actually distribute it to, disperse to Vietnam, the rest of the Vietnam, and then also there are many countries, as you said, like Guatemala, Peru, all those countries where there are some ethnic minorities or the girls face the difficulties in education. I think there is some learning that we can actually share. And then also, I know the importance of a partnership. So any, like any project that there's something we could do it together, then we're more than welcome to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your head talk and for sharing your experience with us. Thanks to all who've joined online also.